You've probably heard the phrase secret society and pictured robes, candlelight, handshakes. Maybe you pictured powerful old men running the world from some underground room. But what actually happens at each rank, what you see, what you're told, what gets kept from you, and what you're made to do to move up, that's a completely different story. And most people never get to hear it because the whole system is built to make sure they don't. This video is going to walk you through every level, from the first day you walk in to the ranks so high most members don't even know they exist. I've gone through every credible source I could find: declassified documents, historical records, investigative journalism, and what I found is genuinely strange. Not in a conspiracy theory way, in a this is how humans actually organize power way. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is that being a low-ranking member of a secret society isn't really being a member at all. You're more like an audience member who thinks they're in the show. When you first get initiated into something like Freemasonry, you're handed a grip, a specific handshake, a password, and a ceremonial greeting. It feels significant. It feels like you've been let in. But here's what's actually happening. The people above you have deliberately designed that experience to give you just enough to feel included while keeping the real structure completely invisible to you. Encyclopedia Britannica describes it as secrets within secrets. The entry-level experience is a controlled fiction. The actual purpose of the organization is withheld until someone has proven loyalty over years, and most members never get there. Most people spend their entire time in these organizations thinking they understand what they join. So when you're at the bottom, you're not ignorant by accident. You're ignorant by design. Take the Illuminati, not the meme version, the actual historical organization founded by Adam Weishaupt in 1776. He recruited young men, usually through Freemason lodges, and he had a rule. He didn't trust anyone over 30. He divided his lower ranks into novices, Minervals, and illuminated Minervals, organized them into cells so no one could see the full picture, and then, this is the part that gets me, he set members to spy on each other. When he couldn't control someone through persuasion, he used surveillance. The people at the bottom didn't just not know what was above them. They were being watched by people they thought were their equals. The whole structure ran on mutual suspicion disguised as brotherhood. That's the foundation. You're in, but you're being tested, and you don't know it yet. Now let's talk about what initiation actually looks like, because this is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable, and it's supposed to. Skull and Bones at Yale is probably the most well-documented elite secret society in America. Presidents, senators, CIA directors. The alumni list is real and it's long, and the initiation, it starts with vulnerability extraction. Before you're even fully a member, you're brought into a dimly lit room where the other 14 members are sitting on plush couches. And you have to recount your entire sexual history out loud to all of them. Your whole history, in detail, while they listen. That's not hazing. That's a calculated move. Once you've confessed something that personal in front of a group, you're bound to them in a way that's hard to undo. They hold something on you before you hold anything on them. The power dynamic is set from minute one, but it doesn't stop there. The initiation involves a cast of costume figures, a devil, a Don Quixote, a pope standing with one foot on a stone skull. You're let in alone, and the moment you enter, the bonesmen start shrieking at you. According to a 1940 dossier that was leaked, the new initiate was placed in a coffin, carried to the center of the building, chanted over, and then reborn into the society. They gave you robes with symbols, and at the start of every single meeting, a bone with your name on it gets tossed onto a bone heap. The theater of it is deliberate, controlled psychological shock, because an experience that intense doesn't just initiate you, it rewires how you feel about the group. You can't go through something like that with 14 people and then think of them as strangers. And this is actually a documented psychological mechanism that secret societies have used for centuries. The physical objects used in initiation, keys, pillars, swords, books, globes, they're endowed with symbolic meaning during that first ceremony specifically so that when you see them at every subsequent meeting, your brain reactivates the emotional state of that first night. The objects aren't decorative. They're memory anchors. Every meeting is engineered to feel like a continuation of initiation. You're being psychologically maintained, not just welcomed. So you've been initiated, you've confessed, you've been shrieked at, maybe put in a coffin, handed a password and a grip. Now you think you understand the structure. You think you're climbing something real. But here's what most people get completely wrong about secret society ranks. And this applies to Freemasonry specifically, which is probably the most misunderstood of all of them. Everyone talks about the 33rd degree Freemason like it's the top of some pyramid of power, but the actual highest rank in Freemasonry is the 3rd degree, the Master Mason. That's it. The other 30 degrees that exist in the Scottish Rite are not higher in rank. They're lateral. They're supplemental. Think of them less like promotions and more like elective courses. Of the more than 160,000 Scottish Rite members worldwide, only around 4,000 hold the 33rd degree. And those degrees were originally designed not as a power hierarchy at all, but as a mnemonic system, a way of teaching moral and philosophical ideas through allegorical drama and repeated symbolism. The whole rank structure was pedagogical, closer to a curriculum than a command structure. So when someone says 33rd degree Freemason, like it means secret world domination, they're working off a fundamental misreading of what the system even is. The mythology of that number was built on a misunderstanding that took on a life of its own. But that said, the higher you actually go, the stranger things get. Because in some societies, the people at the very top aren't just unknown to the public, they're unknown to the rest of the membership. Encyclopedia Britannica documents this directly. In certain secret societies, the supreme leaders remain invisible even to senior members. And the technique that keeps this possible is simple but airtight. Secrets are never written down. They're transmitted verbally, one-on-one, in a master-pupil situation. So even someone who's been a member for decades might have no idea who's above them or what the organization's actual agenda is at the highest level. The top of the hierarchy is structurally invisible. Not hidden, structurally invisible. There's a difference. If you're finding this as fascinating as I am, drop a comment below with the society you want me to go deeper on. Skull and Bones, the Illuminati, Freemasonry, something else. I read every comment and I build videos based on what you want to see. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now because this is the kind of content I make regularly and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's talk about rank systems that didn't use passwords or degrees. They used your body. The Arioi Society in Tahiti had one of the most visible rank systems ever documented. As you climbed the hierarchy, you received increasingly ornate tattoos. Your rank wasn't a title. It wasn't a handshake. It was permanently written on your skin for everyone to see. But getting in wasn't just a matter of being invited. To initiate, you had to prove that you were possessed by Oro, the war god. The initiate would force their way into an Arioi meeting in a trance state, acting under apparent divine possession. Rank wasn't applied to you by the group. You performed it, under what looked like supernatural compulsion. And once you were in, every step up the ladder was tattooed onto you. The body became the credential. That's a completely different model from the Western secret society structure, but it achieves the same thing. Commitment that's hard to undo. Identity that's tied to the group in a way you can't just walk away from. And then there's the version of secret society rank that got weaponized in a way nobody intended. The Cambridge Apostles is an elite intellectual society at Cambridge University. It's produced prime ministers, philosophers, some of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century. The society runs on discretion, compartmentalization, and a deep loyalty to the brotherhood above outside allegiance. Those are the values baked into the rank structure, and in the 1950s and 60s, several of its members were revealed to have been KGB spies. The loyalty infrastructure the society had built: keep secrets, trust the group over outsiders, never expose a brother. That same infrastructure got used to run Soviet espionage operations out of one of Britain's most prestigious institutions. The rank system designed to protect the group was turned around and used to protect something else entirely. The society's own architecture became the cover. That's what happens when you build an organization around blind loyalty and compartmentalized information. You're not just creating brotherhood, You're creating a vehicle, and whoever gets to the top gets to decide what it carries. So here's what you actually know now that you didn't know at the start of this video. Being a low-ranking member isn't being in, it's being managed. The initiation isn't just a ritual, it's a psychological binding process designed to make you feel like you owe the group before the group owes you anything. The rank structure in most of these societies isn't a ladder to power, it's a curriculum, or a surveillance system, or in some cases a tattoo on your skin. And at the very top, in the most sophisticated versions of these organizations, the leaders aren't just powerful, they're invisible, even to the people directly below them. The higher you go, the less you were supposed to see from the bottom. And most people who join these societies never figure that out. They spend years thinking they're climbing towards something, not realizing the thing they're climbing toward was designed to stay just out of reach. If you want to go deeper on any of these, the specific rituals, the historical records, the documented cases of these societies influencing real-world events, I've got more videos on this channel that go exactly there. Watch the one on screen right now. You'll want to see it.